All right, let's do this again. These lights are bright, but it's a beautiful day. Hello, and welcome to Exploring the Violin. My name is Ethan Adelsman, and I'm so happy that you're here. Today, we're going to be going over the bow hold. We're going to go over the parts of the bow, and we're going to wrap things up with some exercises that will help strengthen your bow hold. Let's get started. Okay, so I know I said I was going to start with the bow hold, but I think it's a good idea that we take a look at the parts of the bow first. That'll give you a really good understanding of where everything is on the bow. Frog. Frog eye. Button or screw. Wrap. Grip. Barrel. Horsehair. Tip. Tip guard. Stick. You may be asking yourself, why are we starting with the bow and not the violin? And that's a good question. The violin is the more obvious object. When you think of playing the violin, you're not playing the bow, you're playing the violin. So why are we starting with the bow? Well, every teacher I've ever had has said to me, maybe not every teacher, but most of my teachers have told me that the bow actually accounts for 60% of the challenge of playing the violin. Yep, that's right. That little stick is 60% of playing the violin. That's why we're starting with the bow hold. So, bow hold. Let's talk about it. Most people are going to hold the bow with your right hand, and each finger has its own role in holding the bow. Let's talk first about the thumb. So, the thumb, you want to make sure that it is bent or bumpy, as I like to say. And it's going to touch the bow on the corner. Now, I know your thumb doesn't have a corner. It's very round. But what I mean by the corner is this part right here. And that's going to touch right where, let me get my bow and show you. Right where the frog is. You can see on my bow, there's that worn spot right there. That is where my thumb nail has dug a little channel into the grip, the leather part, the wrap of the bow. So that's where your thumb touches. That's where you want it to be. So you can see, if I take away my middle fingers, you can see that's where my thumb is. It touches on the corner. It's on a little bit of an angle, as you can see, and that's where it touches. Now the thumb, it really controls tone. Dictionary.com defines tone as the quality or character of sound. Along with the first finger, it controls your tone. Let's talk about the first finger. So the first finger, index finger, is going to grip the bow, and these three fingers right here, none of these touch with the actual tips of the finger. That's a very important thing. One of the biggest mistakes I see with starting students is that they're trying to touch with the tips of the fingers, like you do with just about everything else. If you go to grab something, it's usually with the tips of your fingers. But they don't touch that way. The pinky does, the thumb does, these three, they don't. So the first finger goes over the bow like so, and it touches this joint right here is what touches on the top of the bow. So it goes like this, right on top. The middle two fingers, these guys, they stay together. You don't want them to be separated. The first finger separates from the middle two a little bit, but the middle two, they kind of work together, and they just rest on top of the bow. You want to just kind of plop them right on top like that. Where they touch is, it's kind of like an angle. if this is my bow, and I always recommend starting your bow hold with a pencil. When you're first learning to hold the bow, you want to use a pencil because the bow it's long and it's hard to control the whole thing. So you start with a pencil, and it's on a little bit of an angle like so. And then when you wrap around like this, then your hand is kind of hanging on it, and your thumb comes up. The thumb is kind of behind the middle finger, right? So it's behind there, and you can see there's a little separation between the pinky and the middle two, which are together, and then the first finger, a little separation there. The pinky, very important to keep the pinky curved. Like the thumb, your pinky wants to be curved, okay? See that? And then also resting right on top of the bow. So that's the bow hold in a nutshell. Basically, that's how you hold the bow. Here's some exercises you can do with the bow. Most of these are designed to strengthen the pinky. One of the biggest things I see in beginning students with the pinky is that it wants to be straight, or it collapses, or it locks. Sometimes it'll lock. I can't do it because my pinky, I've spent years getting it not to. If you're seeing that happen with your pinky, these exercises can help and can be very beneficial for strengthening the pinky. The first one that I like to do is called windshield wipers, where your bow is going back and forth like windshield wipers, right? And you see the pinky is pushing and controlling the windshield wiper motion, right? The next one, similar to windshield wipers, but you're actually making the tip of the bow do little circles in the air with your pinky. This one's a little more tricky, a little more difficult to get just right, but if you do it right, it's going to really help strengthen your pinky. This is a more advanced exercise, but basically you are pushing down and then pulling back up. So, pinky push-ups. Push down, back up. And that is working out those fingers and keeping them flexible. That's a big part of the bow hold too, is you don't want to grip it too tightly. If you're gripping too tight, you're going to choke your sound, and it's not going to sound as clean and clear, and you won't be able to do all the fun stuff that you can do with your bow later on. Like, there's a lot of bouncing stuff that happens, and this all the techniques with the bow rely on a really strong hand and also a really flexible bow hold. All your fingers need to be very flexible. This is why it takes years of practice to get it just right. But you can learn it in a day, and that's what we are hoping to accomplish here. All right, another exercise you can do to strengthen the fingers of your bow hand, and especially the pinky. I like to use this mainly for the pinky, but you can use it for every finger if you want to. It's actually effective too for the violin hand for strengthening these fingers. I call them finger pops. So what you're going to do, you're going to take your hand like this, and you want to make sure your thumb is bent as well. This is a good strengthener for the thumb too. So you want to take your finger that you're strengthening and your thumb, and you want to just hammer them together, like boom, boom. And the goal is to make sure the pinky doesn't collapse or the thumb doesn't collapse. You don't want to do it like this. This way is not effective. You have to keep that pinky curved. Whatever you do, keep it curved. And the goal is, if you put it up to your ear, you can hear the pop. I'll put it up to the microphone so you can really hear it. So, that is pinky pops, finger pops, and they're very effective. If you watch TV, this is a great thing to do while you're watching TV, or anything else that you're sitting in one place doing something else. You can just do these, and I think you can build up your strength over time, and the goal would be to get to about maybe 10 minutes a day of doing finger pops. Time yourself, do it for 60 seconds first, and then see if you can break that and go for 70 seconds, and then, so on and so forth. And you will have a strong pinky. Let's take a look now at a recap video covering all the key points of holding the bow. All right, that concludes today's episode. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Please leave any questions, comments, or concerns in the comment section below. And make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. And also hit the notification bell so you'll be informed when we put out new content. See you next time on Exploring the Violin.